based on what we have learned from these people. This particular year, and last year as well, we addressed what I think is perhaps the most serious unmet challenge of the world, and that is the persecution and deprivation of human rights of women and girls. This is something that is originating in the religious beliefs of, I would say, Baptists and Catholics and others. When we announce from the leadership, all men, that women are not equal in the eyes of God. And women are deprived of an opportunity to serve their particular religious faith. And from this ordination, from home high, for very devout people, they derive I'd say the excuse of an employer to pay women less for the same work as men, and to make sure that women don't have the leading roles in the outcome of political campaigns. And the slavery now that involves 80% of women is greater than the slavery trade ever was during the 1700s and 1800s out of Africa toward the New World. And that slavery is very oppressive. Women's genitals are mutilated, and girls are sold into marriage when they're 8 or 10 years old. Those kind of things have to be addressed. And that was the subject of our Defenders Conference this year. I'm writing a book about that, which will be my next book. We are very deeply involved also, as you probably have surmised, in the Middle East. We had several agreements when I left the White House. Only one of them has been consummated or honored, and that was a treaty between Israel and Egypt, and I think it'll survive for many years to come. But the other promises that were made concerning Palestinian rights and so forth have never been honored. And so we are dealing with that, as well as some recent uprisings in the Middle East, one of which is Syria. Our workers at the Carter Center go regularly to Damascus to meet with the representatives of the Assad regime and also the opposition groups to try to formulate some ultimate solution when and if a ceasefire can occur. I just finished an editorial that will be in the Washington Post tomorrow morning that deals with the current events, and I'm sure I might get a question about that later. I'll reserve it until I get a question. If I don't get a question, I'll be relieved. The next thing is South Sudan. As you know, under the Carter Center's observation at least, we've been involved in South Sudan for many, many years, and they had a referendum recently, and they decided to become independent. But since that independence of South Sudan, now working side by side